This is the story of a man who had lost everything: his job, his confidence, and almost his will to keep going. Until one single habit rebuilt his entire life from nothing. He started waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. And in just 90 days, everything around him began to change. What he discovered in those quiet morning hours will surprise you, and it might be exactly what you have been missing. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, what time do you usually wake up? And if this story speaks to you, make sure to like and subscribe to Parchment Hour for more stories like this one. In a small industrial town where the factories never truly slept, there lived a 29-year-old man named Daniel. Daniel worked the overnight shift at a packaging plant, loading crates onto trucks from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. His pay was just enough to cover rent and food, nothing more. He lived alone in a cramped studio apartment above a laundromat. The walls were thin, the heater barely worked. His only furniture was a mattress, a folding chair, and a small television he never had the energy to watch. Daniel had once dreamed of becoming a mechanic. He loved engines, the smell of oil, the satisfaction of fixing something broken. But after his father passed away suddenly, he had to leave his training program to support himself. That was 4 years ago. Since then, Daniel had been stuck in the same cycle. Work through the night, sleep through the day. Wake up just in time to do it all over again. Every morning as he walked home from his shift, he passed a small auto repair shop. The lights would already be on. Mechanics in clean uniforms would be opening the garage, laughing, drinking coffee, preparing for the day. Daniel would slow down and watch through the window for a moment before continuing home to sleep. That should have been my life, he would think. Then he would climb the stairs to his apartment and collapse into bed, exhausted and empty. He had tried applying to shops before, but without finishing his certification, no one would take him seriously. He told himself he would go back to school eventually, once he had saved enough money. But saving never happened. There was never enough left at the end of the month, and there was never enough energy left at the end of a shift to think about the future. His younger sister, Maria, called him every Sunday. "Daniel, are you okay? You sound so tired all the time." "I'm fine," he would say, "just busy." But busy was not the truth. Stuck was the truth. And deep down, Daniel knew it. The turning point came on an ordinary Thursday morning. Daniel had just finished his shift and was walking home when his phone rang. It was Maria, and her voice was shaking. "Daniel, it's Dad's old friend, Mr. Reyes. He collapsed at the shop. They think it's his heart." Daniel froze in the middle of the sidewalk. Mr. Reyes had been like an uncle to him growing up, the man who first showed him how to change an engine's oil, who once told a 12-year-old Daniel that he had good hands for this work. Daniel rushed to the hospital. When he arrived, Mr. Reyes was resting, pale but conscious, tubes running from his arm. He smiled weakly when he saw Daniel. "Look at you," he said, his voice raspy, all grown up, still not turning wrenches though. Daniel tried to laugh, but it came out hollow. "Life got complicated," he said. Mr. Reyes studied him for a long moment. Complicated or comfortable being stuck? Daniel had no answer. Before Daniel left that night, Mr. Reyes grabbed his wrist with surprising strength. "Listen to me," he said. I built my shop starting with nothing but 2 hands and mornings nobody else wanted. Don't waste the mornings you still have, Daniel. Promise me that." Daniel walked out of the hospital into the cool night air. It was almost 4 a.m. The streets were empty except for a delivery truck idling at a red light and a lone jogger crossing the intersection. Daniel stood there for a long moment, watching the city breathe in the silence before dawn. Something inside him shifted. "No more waiting for comfortable," he whispered to himself. "I need to actually move." 2 days later, Daniel returned to the auto shop, not through the front door as a customer, but around the side entrance, where the owner, a sharp, no-nonsense woman named Priya, was unlocking the garage at 5:30 in the morning. "Excuse me," Daniel said. "I used to work on engines with Mr. Reyes years ago. I know I don't have my certification finished, but I'll do anything, sweep floors, whatever you need, if I can just learn while I'm here." Priya studied him carefully. "What time can you actually show up?" Daniel hesitated. "I work nights until 5 a.m., but I can be here by 6. Priya crossed her arms. "Here's the deal. Most people who say that disappear after a week. If you're serious, show up every single morning at 6 a.m., no excuses, no exceptions, for the next 90 days. You sweep, you watch, you learn whatever I let you touch. If you're still here after 3 months, we talk about training you properly. If you skip even 3 mornings, don't bother coming back. Deal?" Daniel felt his exhausted body protest at the mere idea of less sleep, but he thought of Mr. Reyes's grip on his wrist. "Deal," he said. The first week nearly broke him. Daniel would finish his warehouse shift at 5 a.m., splash cold water on his face, and drag himself to the shop by 6. His body screamed for sleep. His hands trembled from exhaustion as he swept floors and organized tools. Priya barely spoke to him beyond instructions. Some mornings, Daniel questioned whether this was worth it at all, but he kept showing up. By the second week, Priya began explaining small things to him as he worked: how to properly diagnose a battery issue, how to read a diagnostic code, why a certain belt was worn unevenly. Daniel absorbed every word like a man starving for information. He began arriving 15 minutes early just to study repair manuals Priya kept on a shelf near the entrance. Around day 25, something shifted. Daniel's body adjusted. He no longer needed 3 alarms to wake up. His eyes opened naturally just before dawn. The exhaustion that once consumed him began to feel like discipline instead of punishment. He noticed his hands remembered things from years ago, muscle memory returning as he was finally allowed to help with simple repairs. By the end of month 2, Priya let Daniel handle basic maintenance jobs on his own: oil changes, tire rotations, brake pad replacements. Customers began recognizing him, appreciating how carefully he explained what he was doing. Word started spreading that the quiet new guy in the mornings was surprisingly skilled. In the 3rd month, a regular customer brought in a car with a complicated electrical issue that had stumped 2 other mechanics. Priya was busy with another job and, almost as a test, told Daniel to take a look. Daniel spent 40 minutes tracing the wiring methodically, the way Mr. Reyes had once taught him as a boy. He found a corroded connector hidden deep in the dashboard wiring, replaced it, and the issue was solved. Priya walked over, arms crossed, studying the finished work. "Where did you learn to trace a problem like that?" "Someone showed me a long time ago," Daniel said quietly. "I just never forgot." On day 89 of his 90-day promise, Priya called him into her small office. "Daniel," she said, I don't usually do this so fast, but you've earned it. I want to sponsor the rest of your certification, and I want you working here full-time, mornings only, real pay, real title." Danielle stood there, stunned into silence. 3 months ago, he was a man sweeping floors on no sleep, desperate for a chance. Now he was being offered exactly the life he had once given up on. That evening, Daniel visited Mr. Reyes, who was recovering well and back on his feet, walking slowly with a cane. Daniel told him everything. Mr. Reyes's eyes filled with quiet pride. "I always knew those hands were meant for this work," he said. "You just needed to remember it yourself." 1 year later, Daniel had completed his certification and become one of the shop's most trusted mechanics. He had saved enough to move into a proper apartment, one with working heat and enough space for a real dining table. He still woke up before dawn every single day, not because anyone required it of him anymore, but because those early hours had become sacred to him. The time when he studied new repair techniques, planned improvements for the shop, and simply sat with his own thoughts before the noise of the world began. His co-workers sometimes asked him, "Daniel, why do you still wake up so early? You've already made it." And he would smile and say, "Making it was never the finish line. It's a practice, and mine still starts before sunrise." My friend, Daniel's story proves something important. Your life does not need to stay the way it is right now. It does not need to wait for the perfect moment, because that moment rarely comes on its own. What separates a stuck life from a changing one is rarely talent or luck. It is what you choose to do in the hours when everyone else is still asleep. Between 4 and 6 in the morning, the world is silent. No calls, no distractions, no noise pulling at your attention. That silence is not empty. It is space. Space to build the version of yourself you have been putting off. This is why so many people who rebuild their lives start exactly there, in the quiet hours before the world wakes up. So here's your challenge, the same one Priya gave Daniel. Step 1. Tonight, set your alarm 30 minutes earlier than you normally wake, and place your phone somewhere across the room, so you have to physically get up to stop it. Step 2. Choose one single skill or goal you have been putting off, and commit to spending that early hour working on nothing else. Step 3. Protect your bedtime the same way you protect your mornings, because you cannot build a new life on borrowed sleep forever. I promise you this. If you commit to your early hours with real purpose for the next 90 days, your life will look different by the end of it. You may not transform overnight, but you will become someone steadier, someone more capable, someone who no longer waits for permission to begin. Daniel had nothing when he started. No certification, no savings, no guarantee it would work. All he had was a decision to show up before sunrise and keep showing up. You already have more than he did. You have this story, and you have the choice sitting in front of you right now. If this story moved you, hit the like button as your own quiet commitment to change. Then tell me in the comments, what will you build in your first early morning hour tomorrow? Share this with someone who keeps saying they'll start next week. And subscribe to Parchment Hour, because every week we bring you another story of someone who rebuilt their life, one quiet morning at a time. Remember what Mr. Reyes told Daniel. Don't waste the mornings you still have. Your future is waiting quietly just before sunrise. The only question left is, will you be awake to meet it?